You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Welcome. This is Dr. Carlos Sanchez. This is the Hispanic Chamber Connections radio show, and we do begin our program at 2 p.m., so we'll be looking at that, and maybe that's why when I leave here, people say, oh, I heard part of your show, and caught the rest on YouTube or caught the rest on some of the means. But nonetheless, welcome to the program. We want to welcome people who are listening to us from Spring. I have a couple of members who just joined who said they're going to tune us in from their garage, because these guys do cars and they listen to the radio all day. And so guys from Champion's Garage, if you're listening to us, thank you for listening. This radio show is designed for, and it's a program that we love to do for our members. So we feature our members as the central piece of this program. People that join our chamber, we have now about 370 members, 370 business members. And every one of them to us is special and important. And so we think that a great benefit is to be able to, at large, to tell the world about what you do and who you are. And I believe that so many businesses do such great work that they all deserve to be a part of this show. So if you're listening and you're a member and you haven't been on this program, send me an email. I might ignore it to begin with, but I promise you, after once or twice reminders, I will get back to you, let you know when you can be on the show. We'd love to have you, and it's just a joy to do this program. Today, we're with somebody very special, and he's going to talk a lot more about who he is and what he does in a moment. But let me just introduce him for right now. It's Chris Parmeter. Chris, thank you for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
I think that the most important thing about what Chris is doing and what Chris's company does, the company is called Happier at Home. But the biggest thing is to be able to take care of elders, to take care of family in a way that's professional, in a way that lets you be at ease with the care they're receiving when you're not the one doing it. Because one way or the other, we believe that we are the best caregivers for our parents and our family until something happens, or until we have to see or do something that we don't necessarily like or that embarrasses us or something, and we start losing that whole dignity part of care. You know, it's so easy. For example, in my family, I have 6 sisters, and they all take care of my mom, and I'm grateful that my sisters take care of my mom, because if the men of the family had to do it, it'd be such a different story. And I think the dynamics with my mother would be very different too. It'd be very, very strange, because she's a very private, very dignified person, you know. And I know I'm one of the lucky ones, you know. And I'm sure, Chris, that you guys, I mean, you run into all kinds of scenarios like that where Happier at Home provides caregivers.
Absolutely.
And so you actually alleviate situations like the ones I would be in if it were just the men in my family taking care of my mom.
That's correct. Usually it is a family decision. Children, nieces, nephews, grandkids that are involved in determining what their mom or their dad or their other loved one needs.
Right.
And our role is to create an individualized care plan and provide the right personality that'll get the best, and to enhance, not take away any independence, just to do what needs to be done, and providing as close to the family love that their own family can provide.
Well, and I don't think you can actually love, you know, physically. If you're physically tired because all day you've been, you know, running after mom, or here's my mother. Okay, this is the situation back home for me. My mom is fiercely independent, and by fiercely independent, what I mean is she fights to show you how she can still do. So there's days when you wake up or she calls, you know, they call each other, "Where's mom? I don't know. Where's mom? I don't know." And now they can't find her. Right? She somehow went 2 miles down the road to church on her own,
Right.
just to show you she can. But that is so dangerous, because not only does she walk a huge portion of that trip, you know, a bus or even a taxi. This is in Mexico, by the way, so it's even more dangerous, you know.
Okay.
And all that fighting, so to speak, and really what it is for them, it's just to show that they're still valid, that they're still human, that they're still capable, but it becomes very stressful.
Absolutely.
And that's why she needs companionship. Not because my brothers and sisters can't do the work.
Right.
Or not because they don't want to do it, it's because it's better for her to have someone accompany her.
Yep.
It's simple. How do you guys get past some of that here, Chris? I mean, with some of the families?
Well, one of the ways that we provide the care is it is difficult, especially if there's only one family member taking care of an older parent. And it just becomes a job, and they do have to put to the side a lot of their other family responsibilities. Right. What we do is we really encourage the family to let that child have a mother-child relationship,
right,
without being a full-time nurse,
sure,
a full-time caregiver, yeah. Just take away that little bit of stress, giving them some respite, and I'll use the term respite probably a few times this afternoon, just to give them a little bit of a break, both mentally and physically.
Sure, absolutely.
Depending on the level of care, it can be very physically taxing, and so many studies show that family caregivers start to decline in their own health, sure, trying to keep up with what they think their mom or dad needs.
It's as stressful as rearing a child. I mean, it has to be tough. So this is what we're going to talk about in the next few minutes, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're listening and you're interested, if you know someone who is of age, or if you're taking care of someone, know someone who is, this program will be of interest, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. So go get that person, have them tune in, and listen up. So before we do that, though, Chris, let's talk a little bit about what's happening tonight. So we just did every Tuesday we have a meeting here in the Woodlands. It's a lunch meeting. Today was a lighter meeting, and I know why. I mean, a lot of our members emailed me yesterday and the day before yesterday telling me, I'm going to this event on Tuesday, and it's so funny because some of them, they feel guilty that they're not with us today, but that's all right. I tell them, guys, as long as you're successful, and as long as what you're doing actually is giving you something back as a business person, by all means, attend these events. I mean, you should, network everywhere you can. As long as it, like I said, as long as it gives you a benefit. But so we had that just now where you were in attendance, and we had about 35 people there today. So that's a lighter group. Nonetheless, that's on Tuesdays. But Tuesday night we reserve special for ribbon cuttings and for special events. And tonight is a ribbon cutting for Happier at Home. Tell us a little bit about it, Chris, and where is it going to be?
Well, tonight we're going to be at By the Glass Wine Bar, which is in Spring.
The interesting thing about what I read, Chris, is By the Glass. By is not B-Y.
That's correct.
B-U-Y.
That's correct.
So, okay, good.
So as a small business, I like to support other small businesses as much as I can. And my wife and I have become very close with the couple that owns By the Glass. We had my wife's retirement party. She just retired from 30 years in education about 3 weeks ago there. It was just such a great time. And I thought that would be a great place for our ribbon cutting, which also we're celebrating our 1-year anniversary 1 month early.
Wow.
So
okay, sure.
It's a dual purpose party tonight.
And that's 1 year in business as the franchise owners
That's
of
correct.
Happier at Home. And do you guys just do work in Spring Woodlands or?
We're the very first franchisee of Happier at Home, which is based in Rochester, New York. Our territory is essentially Spring, the Woodlands, Conroe, anywhere, Tomball, Magnolia. We also extend to Cypress, Katy, Kingwood. Being the only franchisee in Texas, I can provide care anywhere that I can.
That's amazing.
As long as I have caregivers to support it. So we
Sure.
focus on the North Houston suburbs, northern Harris, southern Montgomery County. But one of our very first clients that we have to this day is out in Baytown.
Okay.
So
Sure.
it's a little bit of a drive out there. So but we do have a caregiver in that area that's just providing amazing care for the family.
All right. So tonight, 5:30?
5:30 to 7:30,
Now,
By the Glass Wine Bar.
It's right off Kirkendall.
Kirkendall, just north of Spring Cypress, south of 2920.
I used to live around there, so I know that I'm familiar. All right.
Yep.
So in fact, my tire guy is around there.
Oh, good.
On Kirkendall. If you need a tire guy, but no.
There's a couple on Kirkendall.
Yeah, for sure. And they're it's amazing. We were talking about that earlier. It's just amazing how crafty and how intelligent some people are to get business versus the bigger franchise companies that do the same thing but for a different price. So it's amazing. Anyway, all right. So tonight we have a ribbon cutting. A ribbon cutting basically is a reception. It's a party designed to feature your business and to help your business have more visibility and bring people there to celebrate with you And in this case, it's a 1-year anniversary. It can be a 2 or 3 or 5-year anniversary. It can be just basically your launch into a whole different market. It can be really anything that we have a ribbon cutting, because all of our members have that benefit. So I think it's always interesting that some members or some folks will say, well, I'm not big enough for this, or I don't have an office, or, and that's never a concern of ours. Right. So no matter what size you are, we can do a ribbon cutting. If you have friends, and hopefully you do, we can do a ribbon cutting, And if you don't have an office, we'll loan you one. Or now that we know about buy wine by the glass.
Buy the glass, wine bar, and vinyl lounge.
And vinyl lounge.
Bring your own vinyl.
You can bring, okay, you've got that. Now that we know about that location, well, you can actually have it there too, Right. You can have it at any restaurant. So it really does depend just on how much visibility you actually want, because we'll give you that visibility. So, all right, so that's tonight. Tomorrow, Katie. We have lunch at Katie at a place called Abuelos. We get about 40 people, 30 to 40 people there. You've come to that one a couple of times.
A couple of times, yes.
So it's a ways down the road, and it's like everything. The more you invest in these meetings and events, the more people get to know you, the more they trust you, the more they'll give you their business. It's how it is. I don't think there's a different way of doing business. I made a mistake for many years thinking I can just visit any networking thing and I'll find business. And then I would get upset and say the group doesn't work because they don't give me any business. But the thing is, if you really do want business, you do have to harvest. I'm not harvest. I'm sorry. You have to sow. You have to cultivate. You can't go in there expecting something, because it doesn't work like that.
Right.
Unless it's an emergency.
Exactly. But in my opinion, networking organizations such as yours, everybody there becomes your salesman, and you are representing every other company there that you get to know, like, and trust.
That you get to know. That's a big deal.
And that's why I want to be at as many of the meetings as I possibly can make, and let people get to know me, and also do business where I have the opportunity for myself with other members of the chamber, and also with as many people as I meet every day. There's going to be a need, and say, I've got the right guy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then, okay. So that's Wednesday. That's Katie. Thursday, we're in Vintage Park, and we've seen you in Vintage Park, so I know that you've frequented that meeting. Friday, we have a breakfast on Friday. So we're at a place called Natalitas. It's right here on Sawdust. It's a Mexican restaurant.
I've been there.
Yeah, they have great enchiladas. We're having breakfast there, 8:30 to 10:30. Basically, it's a networking. Just basically open for the public and for our members. And then Friday afternoon, spring. And you've been to the spring
several times
over at Pinpoint Marketing.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty much our week. On Mondays, we have other things, but really those are the big events. On Mondays, rather, the only thing we do have that's special is lunch in Humboldt. Right? So anyway, all these events, everything going on, we're 40 events per month, everything for our members. It's exposure, it's connections, and all of you are invited. So we're talking with Chris Parmeter about the work that Happier at Home does with the seniors and with people that need care at home. We're going to talk more about that. We're going to learn more about how it's done when we come back. So please stay with us.
Looking for a bilingual insurance company in the Montgomery County area? Since 2006, the Amell Agency is a family-owned insurance agency, and it all started with Leonard Amell. Now working with 3 full-time agents offering home, auto, life, and umbrella insurance, the Amell Agency works with you to provide the insurance you need. Whether it be for your business or personal needs, they put that need first. The Amell Agency of the Woodlands is open Monday to Friday from 8 to 5. Call today at 832-299-6640 or email them anytime at info@amellagency.com to answer any of your questions. For more information on location and inquiries, look up Amell Agency online at amellagency.com. The Amell Agency, Montgomery County's bilingual insurance agency.
Hispanic Chamber Connections with Dr. Carlos Sanchez, President of the Woodlands-Conroe Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, featuring event announcements, member highlights, and more. Tuesdays at 1 p.m., broadcasting from the heart of Conroe, Texas on irlonestar.com and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
Hey guys, this is Connor.
This is Dick.
This is Chris.
And we're with the Ticket Stub Podcast every Thursday live at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 FM in the Conroe area. Also, anytime at irlonestar.com. You go to irlonestar.com/TTS. You can find all of our social media.
And don't forget, we give away 2 tickets to the Grand Theater on every show.
If you like movies and you like complaining or celebrating anything that has to do with the silver screen, check out the Ticket Stub podcast and join us every Thursday at noon o'clock on Lone Star Community Radio.
We're back. This is Dr. Carlos Sanchez with the Hispanic Chamber Connection radio show. I'm here with Chris Parmeter. Chris is CEO, owner, CFO, everything with Happier at Home here. I know that his wife, basically, I shouldn't have said CEO. She is the CEO.
She's the president.
And Chris does everything else. And a lot of what Chris does, of course, he comes into your home, evaluates and assesses and talks to you about the needs you might have, about the ways he can incorporate what he and Happier at Home do the services, and then make a recommendation, whether it's himself or someone else, to care or to provide the best care for the folks that you're working with at home. But Chris, tell us a little bit more about where does Happier at Home come from, and what is the concept that they're pursuing?
Well, Happier at Home, we are actually privileged to be the very first franchisee of Happier at Home. It's based in Rochester, New York, founded about 12 years ago by a registered nurse named Debbie Bernanke. About 12 years ago, her own mother was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of brain cancer. And even though she was a medical professional, she needed to have caregivers come to her home and provide care to her mother. And frankly, she was just disgusted at the level of care. Caregivers sitting on their phones or just ignoring her, preparing a meal and then walking away. So her mom ended up passing within a few months. She decided to start Happier at Home as a legacy to her mother. And that story, when I was looking at entering the senior care field, that just stood out to me. And the heart that Happier at Home represents really made the difference. And I've talked to, when I was doing my research, talking to the other big national companies, but nobody in my mind had the heart that make it a personal mission for me. Sure. To be able to help as much as I can. And so what's the range of services you provide in the home? We are very unique in the, our overall category is non-medical senior care. And we are very unique in the market in that our non-medical senior care does not include hands-on personal care, which can be a disadvantage, but I'll come back to that. But what we do is first and foremost companionship. As part of that, it is providing those services that families need to remain safe and comfortable and secure in their own homes as long as possible, ranging from meal preparation and planning, light housekeeping, laundry, stripping and making beds. Obviously, the elderly often are the physical task of changing their own sheets can be very difficult. Encouraging exercise. If they're working with a physical therapist, typically PT does not only extend for the hour that the therapist is in the home. They want them to continue to exercise, so we're there to encourage and keep working with them. And also providing transportation, whether it's to the grocery store, to church services, to Bridge Club, even just drives out in the country when the weather is nice. But often we're called to provide transportation to the doctor's appointments. And obviously seniors will often have a lot more doctor's appointments than you or I may have. And if the family member that is responsible for them is a busy professional, it's very difficult for them to take 3 or 4 hours out of the day to come home, take their loved one to the doctor, bring them back home, and then go back to work, where we can take over that responsibility for them. I see. So basically, I mean, it's a wide range. What about other types of care? Things like even personal grooming and stuff like that. Is that? Well, the personal grooming, bathing, any type of hands-on care, hygiene, toileting assistance, things like that, are going to be considered personal assistance services in the state of Texas. We cannot do that as per the terms of our franchise agreement. So what we do is, if somebody calls us and say, well, one of the things I need help with is bathing, we'll ask them, okay, let's talk about that. When mom or dad, when they're in the tub, are they able to bathe themselves, shampoo their hair? They said, oh yeah, they can do that. They just were uncomfortable getting out of the tub. That's not bathing. That is monitoring. That is safety monitoring.
Okay.
So we can provide that level of care. If it does come down to where they just need hands-on grooming, it could be severe arthritis.
Right.
They can't take care of their own personal needs. Then what I will do is I will let them know that we are not going to be the best fit for you,
Sure.
but I'm going to give you at least two other companies that can, and that's just very important to me. I don't want to just say no, I can't help you and leave it
Right.
there. I have good friends within the industry, and most of the companies that I've met are very, very good, very, very helpful. So I do like to refer to those that I've personally vetted
Sure.
and gotten good reviews back from
Well,
my
let me ask you
referrals.
this. Okay, so another question that comes to mind is, at what point do I know that I should be calling you? Like, for example, in my mom's case, she has so many caregivers around her,
Right.
and they will fight. If anything, they'll fight to be the ones that take care of her right now. So that's what their condition is, and that's how they live, and they're happy with that. It's actually a Mexican cultural thing. So there you go. But nonetheless, here in the U.S., for instance, we just passed the holidays, and what kind of signs tell me, okay, maybe I should be talking to somebody about them looking after mom for some things? What do you think? What would you recommend?
That's a great question. A lot of our business has really tripled since the holiday season, and that's usually the first time that the entire family is back at mom or dad's for
Judging each other.
Christmas, and they have not seen their folks in a while, especially if they live across the country or around the world, and they're just starting to see some decline both in their parents' appearance. They don't seem to be taking care of themselves. There could be piles of mail on all the counters that just haven't been addressed. New dings and dents in their own cars. Just noticing a sense of decline, and not every family has a family member that can just leave their work and spend the time to get their folks back to a safe, secure position.
Sure.
So we do not have a minimum requirement. In fact, that's another thing that's very unique about our company in the market, is where most of the folks that provide non-medical senior care are going to have a 4-hour minimum or a 20 or 40-hour weekly minimum.
Right.
We provide care for as little as 1 hour a day.
So that's another question I was going to ask you. So when somebody signs up to work with Happier at Home and with our family, if I ask, for example, for services only from 8 to 10 every day, that's something you guys can do?
We can do that.
Okay.
We can do that.
So it doesn't have to be from 8 to 12. It doesn't have to be
That's correct.
from 8 to, I mean, okay. And then during that time, that's when we put together a plan.
Absolutely. And that's again, makes us very unique in that we will take on the smaller, the short-term cases. Because for every 1 or 2 hour case, there is the opportunity that their needs may expand. It may need us for a little bit longer. Several of our clients may have us 1, 2, 3 days a week, but then they say, well, we need to go out of town this weekend. Can you provide round-the-clock care for a couple of days or a couple of weeks? And so those are the types of services that we can do that not just everybody in our market does.
What do you mean by round the clock? I mean, basically somebody camping out at home?
It can be 24/7 care. It just depends on the needs of the client.
Sure.
If they do not feel comfortable leaving their parent alone even for a minute,
Okay.
then we can have somebody there 24/7. Maybe that they may have a level of dementia or Alzheimer's
Sure.
that they may be wandering, and we need to have somebody that is awake or at least a light enough sleeper to be able to guide them back to bed if they start to wander, or they may have other sleep issues where they will be up several times during the night.
So do your caregivers, Chris, or do most of them, or should they? I'm not even sure. Do they have like any kind of a medical background, or do they have a psychological background? What is
We have several caregivers that are CNAs or some degree of nursing skill. Because we're non-medical, that is not a requirement for our company. I mentioned before the personal assistance services that are provided by the majority, they do have to be registered by the Texas Health and Human Services. Because we do not provide those services, there is not a category. So we are not a registered facility because there is no category for the type of care that we provide. But not everybody is. Not everybody needs nursing assistance, and so a lot of our caregivers are technically overqualified because they're not performing their nursing skills. But for us, what we are looking for is experience, and it could be simply family experience. If a caregiver has cared for their own parents for years and years, they know directly what is needed because they've been in the shoes of the families that they serve.
Sure. I have a friend who lives in Houston, and he basically takes care of his mother. Probably will never, ever want anyone else to take care of his mother but him. And she had, well, this is his words, she had dementia. And taking all kinds of medicines. So he was the guy giving her the medicines all the time. And he basically went from having a pretty strong job. Now he's an Uber driver, and he's happy doing that. But his whole lifestyle, everything changed. Everything. His family, everything changed. And one day out of nowhere, he just announced, my mom's fine now. What do you mean? Well, her dementia's gone. Like, okay. What does that mean? Because I don't know. She's just not doing what she was doing before, so I guess she's fine. So not having a medical background and being the son and the only caregiver, that can be pretty dangerous too, right?
It can be. I've never heard of dementia or Alzheimer's just magically going away.
Well, it's obviously, he said it was God. I think that there could be a situation there where he might not be seeing something that's pretty obvious to a professional. I guess I should put it like that.
That's where I like to refer to a professional to,
No
to give the
question.
proper diagnosis.
Anyway, we love him. He's a friend, but yeah, okay. So we're talking with Chris Parmeter. Chris is with Happier at Home. Happier at Home is a senior, how would you frame it? Assistance?
Non-medical senior care provider.
Non-medical senior care provider, working the North Houston side of town. Everything. Anybody that's listening to us and beyond can be worked with. Chris, when we come back, we're going to talk a lot more about details and about other things that have to do with Happier at Home, Chris. And thank you very much again for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.
Looking for a bilingual insurance company in the Montgomery County area? Since 2006, the Amell Agency is a family-owned insurance agency, and it all started with Leonard Amell. Now working with 3 full-time agents offering home, auto, life, and umbrella insurance, the Amell Agency works with you to provide the insurance you need. Whether it be for your business or personal needs, they put that need first. The Amell Agency of the Woodlands is open Monday to Friday from 8 to 5. Call today at 832-299-6640 or email them anytime at info@amellagency.com to answer any of your questions. For more information on location and inquiries, look up Amell Agency online at amellagency.com. The Amell Agency, Montgomery County's bilingual insurance agency.
The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service has been dedicated to educating Texans for over a century. In 1915, the Extension Program was established under the federal Smith-Lever Act to deliver university knowledge and agricultural research findings directly to the people. Ever since, AgriLife Extension programs have addressed the emerging issues of the day, serving diverse populations across the state. Texans turn to Extension for solutions in horticulture, agriculture, 4-H and youth, and family and consumer sciences. Extension agents respond not only with answers, but also with resources and services that result in significant returns on investment to boost the economy. Join us Fridays at 1 o'clock for the AgriLife Extension Hour.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app from your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That's Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. If you are on the computer, bookmark irlonestar.com as your internet radio station. A Lone Star Community Radio. Broadcasting 24/7 from the heart of downtown Conroe, Texas.
Carlos Sanchez with the Hispanic Chamber Connection. We're here with Chris Parmeter. Chris Parmeter is owner of Happier at Home. Would owner be a good...
Owner is absolutely right. Vice president is the title on my card. I was smart enough to make my wife the president.
If I could have read your card, maybe I would have, or if I would have read your card.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chris, we were talking a little bit about some of the services that you provide, and they seem very, very extensive. Just so many different things you guys can do for people. Especially these are things that I guess a lot of us take for granted. I mean, changing sheets or just really the ability to get out of a bathtub, just
Right.
without you, without help. It's just these things we don't even think about.
Yeah.
So, what kind of background checks do you guys do for your guys, Chris?
Well, a lot of our applicants come to us through referrals from our other caregivers that have worked with others. For example, we love retired teachers because you know that they already have the heart, and we also know if they're on the TRS retirement system pension that's not going to be increasing. So it is a good supplemental income. All of our employees are part-time. And they let us know what their availability is. Some are only available certain hours, certain days of the week. Others are available whenever needed. So, but we're going to automatically, once we do make a provisional offer to them after an interview, we're going to do a thorough background check, criminal background check. They do have to have their own driver's license. We're going to check their DMV records. They have to have their own personal vehicle and their own auto insurance. They're also covered under our insurance if they are transporting a client to appointments. And we're checking their personal and professional references, and we are doing drug screening.
Wow.
So it's a very extensive background check, and we really do that. But we'll ask them up front if there's any issues we should know about, and they may not tell us everything.
Sure.
But when we get the reports back, we let them know that.
And that's a big deal, though.
It is,
because you do, like you said earlier, you have to be able to trust the people that you're
Absolutely.
putting with your clients. With their,
They are our employees. They're not independent contractors. They're insured and bonded by us. They are truly the face of the company with the families that we serve. So it's critical to us. Jill and I both agree that we are not going to hire anybody we wouldn't trust with our own family members.
Okay, very good.
So and I have a very diverse group of caregivers, and we'll talk a little bit later, I'm sure, about how we choose the caregiver to go with the family. But we can provide the right caregiver for each family.
Okay.
And just
So you
about every
become more of a
situation.
matchmaker than that.
That is it. That's it. That's a big part of it. When we do the assessment with the family, I try to get a sense of the senior or the seniors, if it's a couple that we're going to be providing care for, and just kind of get a little bit about their background.
Sure.
Were they lifelong homemakers? Were they professionals, engineers? Just try to get them speaking, so I kind of get a feel for what their background is, and I try to find somebody that I think is going to be the best fit.
Right.
So a good example, one of our recent clients, a lady from outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, had a fall. Her son and daughter-in-law brought them to the Woodlands to live with them for a while she recuperates. And she's a professional. She was an accountant, to this day at 76. She's still doing taxes for folks. And I'm thinking that maybe a 23-year-old college student may not be the best fit for her. So one of our best caregivers is a retired business owner herself. So they are, and a little more mature in age, a little closer to the client's age. So it just became such a good match, and the family just raves about our caregiver.
So basically, once you have someone, I mean, your job is not just to secure or to find clients who you can serve, but then you have to turn around and say, okay, how am I going to make the best match?
Right. And there are some that are more challenging than others.
Sure.
We have a dear client that has fairly advanced stage dementia, and her need, the caregiver for that type of client is completely different. As often happens when you're fairly advanced levels of Alzheimer's, you tend to repeat yourself quite frequently.
Okay.
So it takes a very patient caregiver that is understanding and does not interrupt, does not get short.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Just provides that sounding board and just is just wonderful
And
for
so
the
the parts
family.
you said that the parts of town where you are is basically all the North Houston suburbs. Could you give us an example of someone that you've recently started working with? I mean, how did the whole thing pan out?
Well, here's a great one. Is just yesterday we started a new case in the Woodlands for a 95-year-old and her 91-year-old sister.
Oh, yeah.
Living with the 95-year-old's daughter and son-in-law, and the daughter works in a legal practice where this is their busiest time of year. So she is getting home well after dark. Her husband works during the day as well. So during that 6 or 7 hour period, we've got a caregiver there providing the assistance needed. Monitoring bathing is a big part of it. Preparing healthy meals. They do take a lot of medications, so ensuring that they are taking the medications as they are prescribed.
Okay.
And then performing the light housekeeping, cleaning the bathroom, changing sheets as necessary. Just taking away the burden from the family, so that when the daughter gets home at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, everything's done.
And that's 7 hours a day?
That's 6 hours a day for this client. Yes.
That's pretty amazing. That's a lot of time.
It is. But this was the one I mentioned in the lunch earlier. They had a caregiving service in the past where the client has a walk-in tub, and one of the caregivers for the other agency had filled up the tub before placing the client in the walk-in tub, and yes, the tub door was opened and the water went all over the floor.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, we can put common sense as one of the key indicators of a good
Yeah.
caregiver.
It's almost hard to imagine that somebody would do that, but at the same time, you know, if they've never been around a tub like that, it could have been their mistake or just different things, and not asking and not the intelligence factor pretty much plays a big role.
That's huge.
Yeah. No. All right, so you're basically, how many clients right now are you guys taking care of?
We have about 15 clients right now. We are, and those vary from, we have one client that we see 1 day a week for 3 hours. And our caregiver's role is assisting with preparation of diabetic-friendly meals.
Okay.
And it helped that our caregiver was also diabetic.
Diabetic-friendly meals.
Yeah. So just kind of the low sugar
Yeah.
preparation, and it just takes some time for the client's wife to do those things. So we fulfill that role, and it's a very small, almost. We do some other care activities there, but the primary benefit that we offer is the preparation.
And it sounds like it's
of that.
kind of fun too.
It is, and we have other clients that we're providing 50, 60 hours of care a week. Just depends. There's such a variety, and like I said before, we do not have an hourly minimum. We don't have a commitment minimum. So we can, in fact, we may be receiving our first 24/7 case next
All right.
week. So
Let me let people know who we're talking to. This is Chris Parmeter with Happier at Home. This is the Hispanic Chamber Connection radio show, and we're just talking a little bit about the services and about the way Chris and Happier at Home can help you with your elders and with the care that you need to provide to the people you love at home, keeping them at home, because that's actually the purpose here. Right?
absolutely.
So, Chris, if somebody wants to reach out to you and give you a quick call, what number is the best number for them to call?
Our main office number is area code 281-936-9036.
936-9036.
Yes.
Is that on purpose?
It was. I had a selection to make, and
Yeah,
that stuck out in my mind a little better than the others.
Okay.
Doesn't
Right.
spell anything, but
Well, it wouldn't work if it spelled anything anyway. Can
Right.
you imagine?
that's true.
You know, like I have friends that have like 1-800-DIET or something, and that's really difficult for, you know.
Yep.
Anyway, so Happier at Home, home health services?
Well, I wouldn't call them home health as much as just home care.
Health without no.
There.
Healthcare without the health.
There,
I don't know.
mental health.
There you go. Well, and mainly a lot of relief for and respite for
Absolutely.
Family members, people that would otherwise be very worried about what's happening.
That's correct.
So it's a great time that you guys are involved right now in the community, Chris. You've told me that also you've been very busy recently after the holidays. Is that something that's been going on?
Yeah, since the end of December, and our business is based on billable hours, and we have had weeks where we were 3 and 4 times busier than we were before the holidays.
Wow.
So it's creates new challenges from staffing and wanting to have the right caregiver. And
Sure.
and one thing that we have done is we may have the ideal caregiver for a specific client. We may bring in a new client that caregiver would be ideal for, but unless the schedules allow us, we're not going to take a caregiver from an established client to place them on another client. If we can adjust hours to make it happen, that's another thing.
And so you're continuously looking for caregivers.
Absolutely. We the number of caregivers, I'm always want to have more caregivers than I have hours for the potential of an influx of new clients. But I'm not going to take more bodies just to fill roles. They're still going to go through the same review.
They have to go through
the same
vetting
backgrounds.
process.
Absolutely.
And if they have recommendations or if they come from friends, it's the better.
Right.
Retired teachers are always attractive.
Absolutely.
Well, and it could be a lot of other folks, but this is what you found successful so far.
Yes.
So if you have any questions for Chris, you want to reach out to Happier at Home, give them a call, 281-936-9036. When we come back, we're going to talk to Chris even further about his involvement in the chamber, about some things he's doing in the community, and a lot more. So please stay with us. We will be right back.
Looking for a bilingual insurance company in the Montgomery County area? Since 2006, the Amel Agency is a family-owned insurance agency, and it all started with Leonard Amel. Now working with 3 full-time agents offering home, auto, life, and umbrella insurance, the Amel Agency works with you to provide the insurance you need. Whether it be for your business or personal needs, they put that need first. The Amel Agency of the Woodlands is open Monday to Friday from 8 to 5. Call today at 832-299-6640 or email them anytime at info@amelagency.com to answer any of your questions. For more information on location and inquiries, look up Amel Agency online at amelagency.com.
Hey, Montgomery County, it's me, C.C. Holmes. And I would personally like to take this time to invite you, that's right, you, to join me every Saturday and Sunday from 3 until 7 p.m. where I will bring you the very best of the smooth jazz, classic jazz, and indeed, yes, the soulful sounds of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So come along and get jazzy with me. That's right, jazzy. Right here, of course, on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 FM, or worldwide at irlongstar.com.
A Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show, with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
We're back. This is Dr. Carlos Sanchez with the Hispanic Chamber Connection radio show. Happier at Home is our guest today. Happier at Home. In essence, if you have parents or elder people, older folks living in your home, grandparents or great-grandparents, or uncles, aunts, doesn't matter. If they're living with you, or if you're close to someone who you see is deteriorating and perhaps needs closer attention, needs to be cared for in other ways that we've indicated already, it's a great idea to give Chris Parmeter call. 281-936-9036. Happier at Home. Where did the name come from, Chris? Is it the same from the original person?
Yeah, the franchisor, that name just really stuck, and we get a lot of compliments on that name, and it's very descriptive of what we do. Right.
It's a very good name for that.
Right.
It does describe very specifically. This is what I want for Mom. I want her to be happier at home.
Yeah.
So it's very smart. It's a great way, and I'm sure because now I understand why the color is the color it is, because she's doing it as something that for her own parents.
Right. Yeah.
So
for her own mom. Yeah.
And so purple being the color of spirit. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Her mom, as Chris indicated earlier, the original franchisor.
Right. The founder of Happier at Home
had a health situation with her mother, and when she passed away, she dedicated all of Happier at Home
as a legacy.
For her mom. So there you go. That's why the colors. That's why everything else.
Yep.
That's why it makes so much sense. So Chris, how much do you get out there and actually evangelize Happier at Home with your staff?
As much as I can. Obviously, beyond the initial interview, once we have a new client, either my wife or I, or our care advocate, who I'll talk about if I have a chance, will always be there anytime a new caregiver is introduced to a family. And that's another kind of a trademark of Happier at Home. We want a single caregiver per family, so that you don't have a string of strangers coming in.
Yeah.
We'll always have a backup if car issues or vacation or illness or something like that prevent the primary caregiver from being there. But even if we're bringing over a replacement caregiver, if they have not met the family before, we are going to make the introduction. Just again, we don't want anybody to be considered a stranger in the home that we serve.
So what is a care advocate?
Our care advocate is a new role that we've recently started providing. She's essentially our senior caregiver. She has extensive background with her own family, the aging process and passing subsequently of her mother, her father, and her mother-in-law. So she has just years and years of experience. And she's a professional. She was a realtor and a mortgage banker that has decided that she wants to be able to provide continuing care, fortunately, through us. So what she is able to do, it's a higher level of care that John Anna provides, and she will accompany clients to the doctor, especially for those that are the parents or the other family members of busy professionals, to actually interact with the doctor, knows the questions to ask, will review medication, the medications that they're going over, any changes that have been noticed, and really, truly an advocate for the family, being that family liaison. She is also our go-to person for evaluating and referring additional healthcare professionals. If, for example, one of our clients has had some difficulty, he's using a walker right now, but seems to be having some difficulties, and is interacting with the doctor and recommending some physical therapy to be provided. And yes, there are times where the home environment is no longer the correct place for certain families.
You're the person that talks about those things?
Right. She is going to be the one that works with the family to determine whether an assisted living, a memory care facility, or skilled nursing, and to ensure that the care that they are supposed to be receiving, they are receiving.
So how available is she to your clients?
She is available 24/7. She still fills in sometimes as a backup caregiver for us, but especially for some cases that are a little bit more involved, she's going to be there working with the assigned caregiver the first couple of 3 days as needed to really just tighten up and almost create a statement of procedures for any specific care needs.
She seems like almost an operations person.
Absolutely, yeah.
Somebody that can actually do a lot of the work that needs to be done in order to implement some of the things that.
She has far more experience in many of these family issues than either my wife or I have had, and she's just an absolute blessing to our company.
This is Chris Parmeter with Happier at Home. Happier at Home is, by all means, it's a wonderful, wonderful company, a great service. And if you need more information, please reach out to Chris. That's 281-936-9036. Chris, we have a few more minutes left. Tell us again about what's going on tonight.
Tonight is our Hispanic Chamber ribbon cutting, as well as our first year anniversary party, 1 month early. It's going to be at By the Glass Wine Bar and Vinyl Lounge on Kirkendall, just north of Spring Cypress, south of 2920. It's in the same strip center as Cape Cod Cafe. I think there's a Janie's Lounge, Italian Cafe, Mexican restaurant. So it's on the east side of Kirkendall. Just run by a wonderful, wonderful family. We've had a couple of other events there, and they're very gracious hosts.
5:30 p.m. tonight.
5:30 to 7:30.
If you don't get there at 5:30, you get there at 6, but just get there. We'll wait for you. This is the Hispanic Chamber Connection radio show. I'm Dr. Carlos Sanchez. We've been talking to Chris Parmeter, Happier at Home. Like we said, reach out to him if you have any questions or any concerns tonight. It's 281-936-9036. Next week, we have someone who's going to be talking to you about referral marketing and about some other things like that have to do in different markets, whether it's the Hispanic market or the non-Hispanic market. So we look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you for being on the program, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
This is Carlos Sanchez with the Hispanic Chamber Connection saying thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Thank you for checking out this production of Lone Star Community Radio. Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station. Don't forget to check out this show and many others across the Lone Star Community Radio Network, either live on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, the Lone Star Internet Radio app, or irlonestar.com's live audio stream, and on replay on podcast, Channel 12's Our City TV in Conroe, or Channel 21 KVQT in Houston, and of course their YouTube channel. This production is copyrighted and all rights are reserved by Lone Star Community Radio. Have a question regarding this program or other Lone Star Community Radio shows? Want to sponsor or start your own show? Call the station message line at 936-647-3776 or email the station at lscrstudios@gmail.com.